Product Blizzard.
Mic's on. Let's go. Let's run this camera intro. Hope the world you're ready. Hope you're ready for this. Live here at Free Admission Studios. This is the Gym Crashers. Right there, right there, right there. With our special guest. Wait, hold on. With Adam.
Youngblood Araby.
And the one and only Adam Wood.
It's been a long damn time since I've been with the fucking Gym Crashers. This is literally almost my. I shared it. No, this is almost like my SNL where I get to be a guest on a thing that I used to host. So yeah, that's fun.
And we're rocking off to a great,
Nice
great
case there,
start.
buddy.
Hey, it's the Heart Foundation, Pink and
go.
Black
Boom.
Attack. So yeah, man.
So how you been, dude?
I've been doing absolutely nothing since March 7th, 2020, when the last time I saw you. Not so much you.
Yeah, I'm the new guy here. I'm the new ass
Yeah,
here.
so yeah, I've done absolutely nothing.
That's great. And big shout out to Vito. Vito's watching the show. You know Vito, right? Big O Italian.
Yes, the Sicilian slicer, that guy.
Sicilian slicer. That guy is a
Vito
beast.
Fratelli.
That
right
guy
on.
is a beast. Hey, what's up, Vito? How you doing, brother? Hope you enjoyed the show. We got one and only Adam Woods in the house.
Am I? Is there another Adam Woods? I want to know who you are, motherfucker, and I'm coming for you.
Oh,
Hey, yeah, Adams Woods.
Woods.
Yeah, shout out to Combate for hooking that up, man. That should be an NFT. But how the fuck are you guys doing, man?
You know,
I've been good.
Good,
I've
yeah.
been good. Just
Not everyone at once, though.
well, I've been great. You know, I've lost probably 130 pounds since we last ran into each other.
I probably gained 130 pounds, so thank you for giving me my girth weight.
Well, you're welcome.
Not
You're
my
welcome.
birth weight, my girth
But
weight.
now I'm in the process of buying new clothes.
Okay.
I have to buy shorts that actually fit me because I still wear the same old baggy shorts.
Okay.
And once in a while when I wear the baggy shorts.
Your
so
balls
they-
hang out?
Of course. How do you know?
Dude, turning mid-30s is a motherfucker, is what I'm saying. So sometimes, if you get shorts too short, your balls hang out.
Do you ever sit on your own balls sometimes?
Yes, dude, they plunker down in the fucking toilet, sir.
But I in the toilet.
Are you the toilet?
No,
What
no,
the
no, I'm
fuck?
saying-
These are some revelational shit with Joey the Bull. My God.
When I'm fucking freeballing it and I sit down, my balls for some reason hit the chair first, then I sit right on top of them and it hurts.
So Adam, what Joey does is sing. He's free balling. Come on, this is a duet, motherfuckers.
Like an ebony and ivory over here. Anyway,
This is Adam Squared, damn it.
Adam Square.
Yeah,
so
man.
anyway,
I just want to see how long we'll stay on YouTube before this.
Oh, we're
there's-
demonetized already. So,
We're
hey,
going
if
in
you
the
guys want to
hard
sponsor a podcast, these guys are doing it, kicking it live every Thursday fucking night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because they need the fucking money, because we're not going to make one off of this fucking
I want to be able to afford a
podcast.
Snapple in the glass, not in a plastic bottle.
Pinky up, motherfucker. Pinky up.
I want to be able to move out of my parents' house one day. That would be a very nice.
Oh, they would love
Soon
that.
and very soon.
I'm pretty
You
sure
will
they're.
become a fucking adult, maybe? Yeah,
I'm
right
pretty
on.
sure they're trying to find those dry socks all over his bedroom.
Wow. Ooh.
Oh,
Damn.
I'm sorry. We're a new
Damn.
show. I'm a new Joey. I forget.
Wait, he's a
sorry
he's
to
a
all the
new
viewers.
Joey,
My
but
opinions are to myself, not representing the Gym Crasher studio.
this is his house, the studio now.
Well, you know,
That is-
in my my world, you know what I'm talking about.
In
But
your-
anyway, Adam, we see you almost every day, every points of the hours of you interviewing.
I point to an hour.
You know, every hour of talking to different peoples.
I talk to people. Yes, I do. That's something that I used to do here, but because of the COVID, I wasn't able to do it. But these two, in place of me and the OG, I think John Arredondo, better known as Dondo, is almost like Screech, right? Rest in peace, Dustin Diamond. But like every incarnation of the Gym Crashers, Dondo was a part of it up until it got placed on the sturdy shoulders of one Adam Araby. Yeah, man. So it's been wild, man.
Well, you know, Dondo's right now, what he's planning to do in the near future with this Gym Crashers is that they're going to actually go old school where they used to go out to all these different gyms and actually interview a lot of the fighters and trainers at their actual gyms, and they're going to post it on a feed just like this.
Ooh.
So it's going to be crazy. In the future, it's going to be nuts. So right
the
now,
future's gonna be nuts. What?
we got rid of our masks.
What?
You know, I mean, I can breathe. I can actually work out at a gym.
Hey, the last time he wanted to work out, he wanted to work these ham hocks on my face, apparently. 'Cause-
Oh no!
Oh,
Don't
we're
bring
gonna
this
see
up.
this.
Yeah,
and
man.
Speaking of
So-
celebrity boxing, which we're gonna get into, when are we gonna see this amazing internet celebrity boxing of our own in-house
So-
promotion
so,
with Jim Crash?
do you know the story, right?
Oh, no.
So,
Why don't you refresh me and our viewers?
okay,
Just refresh him,
so,
refresh him.
folks, like a good soldier, right? I'm Jim Crashers, free admission media, till I die,
what
damn
guest
it,
we-
right?
remind me what guest we had in the
and
show.
here's the deal: supporting my friends because I was literally 45 minutes away, folks. In Atwater Village, and I couldn't get, or 90 minutes with traffic, couldn't get here, but I would share the shows, I would comment to support my friends when I couldn't be there physically. And you know what Joey does to kind of reward my patronage? He fucking calls me like a weird bush monkey.
No, I
And
didn't.
all the people
I
of Fiji,
never-
like literally all the fucking people of Fiji, he fucking calls us what like he called us what like Puerto Rican twitty twisters, which Puerto Rico is not even fucking in Fiji. So you need to get your geography right. And then when pressed on it, like Donda was trying to calm you down, and you're like, no, that motherfucker in his grass skirt. I was like, I've never tight jeans, maybe Joey, but no fucking grass skirt. What the fuck?
Don't forget the bone in the nose.
Yeah, this too. Yeah, fuck. I became like, what is it, the witch doctor from
He
the
was like
album and
he was
the
like the
Chipmunk?
Oogie Boogie. No, but see what happened. We had a special
Just
guest on
like,
the show.
don't get racist on me.
we had what's his name? Christian. What was his name?
Aguilera.
Aguilera.
We had him on the show, and then Woods chimed in with the chat. If you want to look at some of the old footage, look on YouTube. Look at Jim Crashers.
archives.
Look at
I
the
might even
archives,
be there.
And look at that interview with Christian.
That was
Now,
the episode I was not here for.
and what happened
You
was
missed
Adam was
something.
talking
Yeah,
stuff
there's
because
something.
they were talking about my weight. We're like losing weight, and I'm doing this and doing that. Adam chimed in.
I think I said something about the Tyson shit.
Yeah, about Tyson. And
Yes.
I said I had fast hands.
Oh, that's it. That is exactly it.
And then you
I
started
did
talking-
in
talking.
this moment.
Yes.
I did. Although I was not there for this episode, I made sure to rewatch the interview because
Good for you,
know,
good
as
sir.
somebody within the
Because he
Subfighter
knows all
Classic Fight
things.
team,
There's a lot of things in the
boxing.
space in his ears. Yes.
drinking right now.
And
I'm
you
drinking.
train with a lot of these
Yeah,
people.
I wouldn't say with or in the same.
Don't let the
spaces.
truth get in the way of a good story, damn it. That's a damn good
You
story,
think
good
I'm
sir.
okay?
I'm
Hold
not
on.
gonna claim somebody I don't train with. you
Okay.
know. I'm just gonna say I train with the same affiliates as a lot of these people and train out of the
Very
same
modest,
gyms
good
and
sir.
With these, I'm not gonna take credit that I have not earned. I'm a young
That is-
man. I got a lot more experience and a lot more work to do, especially in this career and in this lifetime.
Ooh.
But
He's a good get, this one.
yeah, but as I was saying, with I run in those same sister affiliates of gyms, and hopefully, like as I can earn more income, and as I avoid these goals of moving out of my parents' house and all these other things, and can earn more into my career to go to these more gyms to train with these great fighters like Christian Aguilera, like some of the guys we've had on Gabe Green and other
No.
sub-fighter affiliates and guys
Who's
with,
watching
like I
your
said,
end?
that's in these amazing circuit of gyms that we have in SoCal and this amazing martial arts scene.
Okay.
But going back to the episode, because I am a fan of Christian Aguilera, I went back to watch it, and I know the exact moment that you are talking about, and it was a hilarious piece of content as a viewer.
As
to
a
watch
viewer.
Joey's amazing threats of tortilla hands.
So
And I want you to realize, Adam Woods, I've seen Joey's hands in person.
Okay.
They're legit.
They're
There's some tortilla
legitimately
speed.
tortilla?
Oh, jeez.
Legitimate tortillas. That's like fajita, right? No.
I don't know who
So-
to want back in
So what happened was he said his piece. I was mad. I got fired up because I'm thinking the stories I tell are very true. I mean, I'm a little old now, but back in the day, I used to know a lot of people. I'm not bringing it up because I'm not bringing the whole situation.
Bull or no bull.
And so he had said something. I was a little mad. I got fired up, and you see my face. I was a lot fatter back then. My blood pressure was going skyrocket high. I could have had a heart attack here.
I'm sorry.
And of course,
As somebody that had a parent die of a heart attack, I didn't want to do that to Andre the Bull.
and so
I'm sorry.
and so what happened was I let things out about Fiji and Inglewood, and that got a little backlash from that. And I had to do my letter of apology.
You wrote a letter?
Well, I did. I just kind of said, "Yo, I'm sorry." That's it.
That's essentially good enough for the people of Fiji. and the fucking hardcore bowdy motherfuckers in Inglewood.
Well,
The
I'll
90301.
see. I'm
It
That's
is the-
good enough.
It is the
What?
best.
I got the pass, bro.
It
Okay.
is the best.
I got the pass.
All right,
That
bud.
the HR department of essentially a free admission meeting
Yes.
is essentially me and Robert.
Mm-hmm.
We could get out of Joey.
Yeah.
You know.
I was gonna send a box of Hanes underwear to one of those areas so they can have clean.
I thought you said that you were gonna send some underwear to Haiti, and I was like, I'm sure they need it,
probably
but that's a
they do.
weird, that's a weird
Well,
fucking
Ron,
flex,
I
is
mean-
what I'm saying, folks. Just saying.
Oh,
I don't. I mean, just
Well, put
underwear.
it this way, you know, I'm all about comedy. Everybody knows about me. People who I grew up with in the hood. People know about who I am.
Apparently
they
not
know. They
Inglewood.
don't know what I represent. I mean, I've been through Inglewood. I've been through Compton, Crenshaw, cruising up the streets.
And you can talk
and
like
I can
that
still
to
talk
them.
like that on to this day.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
Let's try that.
I would love to see it.
I'll-
As
I'll take-
gentrified
I'll
as
take-
Inglewood is becoming. There might be a
I'll take
motherfucker.
my camera
that-
with me and go out there.
There might be a motherfucker that might slap you with a kombucha bottle. But I
The
mean,
kombucha.
dude, and
Hey,
Inglewood is
hey.
getting gentrified, is what I'm saying.
As a guy, you know, as a young guy who is a big fan of jujitsu and
Uh-huh.
loves to train as well, there's a lot of hipsters that are into jujitsu now. You know.
Yes, they
So
are.
you might mess around with the wrong, the wrong hippie with some dreads.
Oh,
and he
listen
might
here,
throw you like a
Gilligan. Listen
Kimura.
here, Gilligan. Calm down there. Don't get
Ooh.
yourself too crazy.
Gilligan.
But anyway,
I'm not, hey,
You hit
I
on the
don't
sisters
claim
of
for-
affiliates that have UFC fighters, damn it. You shouldn't fucking take that. I'm gonna instigate. You should fucking take that.
but anyway,
Get
guys,
store to your hands.
we're going off a little track here. But you know what? Now we're at peace.
I'm a runaway-
I want to shake your hand.
Runaway
Look at
train.
this. Look at this. This should be like a poster right here. Like this should be
This
like
is an
some
NFT.
mural on somewhere in LA with our, you know, somewhere in LA should be something pretty.
Well, I licked that microphone. It's salty. Anyway,
But back to okay. So let's talk about the UFC fight this weekend.
backpedal.
into the UFC card that we had an
this
amazing,
past weekend,
amazing
yeah.
card of a double championship with the co-main event in Brandon Moreno becoming the first Mexican champion in UFC history, the first Mexican flyweight champion in UFC history, one of the
Mexican
few
boy.
fighters to be cut from the UFC, lowest seed on Tough.
Yep.
You know, went through his trials and tribulations, you know, was never, in terms of prospects, in terms of those grades, was never be looked at as much and overcame such adversity to become, like I said, the first Mexican flyweight UFC MMA champion.
That was
a beautiful, beautiful moment to watch and a beautiful, beautiful fight to watch. It
And
was
I-
an incredible, incredible performance he had, Joey. What was...
Well, I was at a barbecue. I was at a family function, and it was out of respect, because unfortunately, I want to bring sad news. My grandfather had recently passed away a couple weeks ago, so we had a memorial for him at the house. And of course, everybody was watching the fights on a phone, on a laptop, and I'm here, I'm hanging with the family. All I hear is, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, trying to run over them. I'm like, "Oh shit!" It was a cool moment to actually see
It was
the.
beautiful.
I mean, and being brown and being proud, I was like, "Orderly."
No, I mean, there was Cain Velasquez, right? But I mean, his father literally walked from Mexico to, like, the border and what have you, and he had the brown pride tattoo emblazoned. But like Brandon Moreno was literally the first Mexican born champion.
Yeah, there is a difference. Mexican American and Mexican born. I'm a Persian guy, but I say Persian American, not Persian born.
Right.
You can identify, but also, it's important. Remember, where were you born? Where's your roots?
Never
If
forget.
you were born here, you're an American at the end of the day, regardless of where your parents are from.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you will be recalled of said fact, especially when Joy the Bull fucking shoots the shit on your people. But anyway.
Oh my god.
We're good.
But
This was a fun run before we got canceled. I
Yeah.
enjoyed my time here.
Yeah, exactly. Mea
good.
culpa.
I honestly, Adam, there's a lot more worse shit on TikTok
Oh, there's
with
a lot
everything
more
else,
worse things
and
out
This
here.
is
than
true.
what we're talking here.
This
So
is
we're
true.
good.
No,
we're good.
We're
The
good.
reflection of Adam Woods and Joey the Bull does not reflect the opinions of Adam Youngblood. Or the viewers.
Dude, my reflection scares the shit out of my wife, so there's that. There's that. And sometimes also scares the shit out of me. So
It would honestly, if I would see you somewhere and I'm like, no, I can't say that. Can't say that.
why? Can't say it.
Well, if
That's the point of the internet.
well, if the lights went out, Adam, where you at? Just smile and open
That's
your
why I
eyes.
didn't fucking brush my teeth, sir. Good God.
All you see is eyes and teeth. There he is.
That's why I deliberately didn't brush them. So fuck.
And
I know,
this is the Gym Crashers After Dark edition as well.
After dark. What? Am I canceled? Should I leave? After dark? Because the dark leaves with me. No.
Anyway, besides, oh, hello.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We have a fun guest in the house.
No, I'm not a guest.
To appear.
John De La. Oh.
Yeah, come over here. Come over here,
Yes.
John.
Come on, Jalen. Don
Yes.
DeLillo.
He messed up your name, Jane De La O.
Jalen.
Call me Jalen.
Yeah,
I look like I play basketball.
Jalen De La O.
Yeah, I look like I play basketball. Hey, hello everybody out there in
Hey, Vito's watching.
who?
Vito.
Vito Fratelli?
Yeah.
The spaghetti bending madman. Come and see Vito Fratelli this Saturday at American Legion Post 716. The spaghetti bending madman continues in his quest.
Watch it too.
Continues in his quest to obtain the Orange County Championship Wrestling Legion title, American Legion title at Post 716. That's in Los Alamitos. Don't you dare miss it. Want to say hi to everybody. I want to also say that I am done watching the UFC as it is completely uninteresting, mainly because I really enjoy watching one and the product they're putting out there. Nothing is more fun to watch than the Muay Thai that they do with the small gloves inside the cage. They have doubled the excitement of Muay Thai kickboxing and all that.
Before you leave, John,
Yes.
Just to get you kind of quick on, the one championship and the small gloves being there.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite, fighters now to watch within those small gloves? Because I've seen some amazing fights, some amazing Muay Thai champions, and with those small gloves, it just completely changes the game. And we've seen even some amazing style changes out of some great champions.
I think the interesting thing about it is that they are allowed to fight and not exploit the rules, right? Like, when you see the Muay Thai fights, you see them holding each other's and then constantly breaking each other up. They go into the ropes and they get tangled up, right?
Stalling for
Right.
2 rounds.
I don't know if it's fair to call it stalling. It's just not. It's not a what do they call it? A spectator sport, right? It's more of a competitor sport.
Yeah, it's a betting sport.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but when you have it in the cage like that, it makes it more of a combative style. I think it's what people really expected to see. They wanted to see blood sport type fights. The fantasy of what they think a martial arts fight should be, and I think I think that's one step in the right direction. Another step in the right direction. For years everyone talked about, MMA is so much safer than boxing, so much safer than. You remember that? Are you guys old enough to remember that?
I am.
That nonsense.
Adam reminds me.
And it may not. It is not. One thing I want to see done away with.
What's up, Raging?
Or at least have a rule change or something. When someone gets hit and someone goes down, and it's clear he's out. It's clear to me. I'm watching it on TV with my popcorn. Homeboy jumps in and hits him a few more times in the head. Mark my words. If that is not addressed, that is going to. You're going to be the first live on-air death in MMA history through that whole knockdown, pound him while he's down on his back.
And that's coming from
I'm done talking.
That's Mario.
King of the Cage, man, right there, John De La O.
Yeah, he is absolutely excited about one championship, and I mean, there was something that happened behind my ear, and it might have. Ooh, shit. Yeah, there was something that happened behind my ear, and he might have been happy to see me, but no, he's excited
man.
for the one championship fighters. That's exactly what happened.
No, it's an incredible promotion there.
Got
John
some
does
sticky
bring
stuff
up an
on-
amazing point.
That was amazing having him on our show right now.
Yeah, just the fact
John
that
De La freaking O.
gloves.
Wow.
And speaking of John, John's career, I believe he's a former King of the Cage Warriors champ.
King of the Cage.
King of the Cage.
King of the Cage, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been. I mean, I
I
remember.
was mixing up my promotions in my head. I forgot. I was mixing up King of the Cage with Cage Warriors and everything. And I thought
There's
I
a
was
lot of
transition.
cage-
Actually, speaking into more combat sports news, as somebody who's a fan of MMA in the MMA world, what is your opinion on Cage Warriors coming to America?
Long Beach, man. That's happening next month, right?
believe
Yeah,
so.
July 28th or what have you. I love it, man. Obviously, we kind of sport the Celtic Gladiator kind of insignias here, but that wasn't the first foray of an Irish promotion coming stateside. I mean, we kind of knew that with the interactions with Celtic Gladiator. So actually, Cage Warriors is kind of second to one Albert Jarzaback. So I'm just saying. But I think it's great. I think it's a great a level of exposure for European fans of that particular product. Obviously, it's all going to be aired on UFC Fight Pass, from what I understand. But how do you not run the Southern California area and not have a large contingent of SoCal talent? We saw it with Bally's Fight Night, Alpha Ginger, Spike Carlisle headlining the card against Gil Gordardo of Extreme Couture. You know, you come to LA, you bring LA talent, but also if you're a European, Irish, you know, kind of promotion, you get stars from there too. So I think it's going to be a cool mix of styles, mix of kind of ideologies, and I think it'll be fun.
Well, what's your thoughts on the fact that just by, obviously, like you said, you grow up here, you're a fan of the martial arts scene out here, you know the names of out here. But what's your thoughts on the fact that we're bringing those European stars who maybe they're not known on the world stage? They're kind of hidden gems. They're prospects. They're up and coming in the sport to hit that world stage. Because obviously with MMA in any sport, there's levels to this, especially within the exposure to it. Especially as we all know, being on kind of the more kind of journalist, MMA kind of media side of it, who gets to see kind of how the machine runs, how the engine works. What's your thoughts on just the SoCal scene getting to see the level of talent that is coming out of Europe right now?
I think it can only benefit. I mean, kind of residing here in Southern California, you've got Bas Rutten, one of the greatest, Dutch fighters that there's ever been, right? You've got all of, the sun attracts, right? Or whether it be Southern California or Florida or what have you, you attract all of the people, the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners from Brazil, best Muay Thai from Thailand, the best savants from France and whatever. They all end up here, right? And the votaries in their students, right, they kind of purvey that style with a little bit of a twist, right? With obviously the large MMA kind of contingent that's here and the cross training that happens. So it can only benefit both parties, I think, because we actually had a gentleman from Celtic Gladiator that literally came from Poland and main evented. And was it again Spike? No, it was Christian Aguilera.
Yeah.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show. A gentleman who you guys both know. But Christian Aguilera, he basically starts the gentleman. And nothing against it. But again.
But that's Christian Aguilera.
Yes, absolutely.
Go watch any of his fights.
Yeah.
They don't last
Go
long.
watch Christian train.
And the gentleman he fought is also a Polish legend.
Yes, exactly.
Do you know the gentleman's name, Robert?
Kulak.
Kulak.
Kulak,
Yes.
as Robert, our producer, just informed me, he's a very much a Polish legend, a very much known within the Polish MMA scene.
Closer to 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during the time of the fight, as Robert, again, as our producer, informed me, he was a little bit closer to his 40s, a little bit in the twilight of his career, as Robert would put it, or as Robert would agree, not as put it.
I just remember going to the bar after with Dondo and the rest of the crew, and I don't remember much about that night. So, 10 points.
But
I remember a cool story, but can't tell him.
but Kulak, he was a scary man. You know, I remember when I seen the guy in the studio and I was like behind the stage. I wasn't really in the front of the camera yet, but I was tired. But he reminds me of every bad guy in every Die Hard movie.
Yeah, he's the final boss for sure.
He's like,
somebody who's just kind of getting more and more into this industry, as somebody who's not necessarily doesn't have the most intimidating look, it's very interesting. Like, especially like within
he
this
does. His breath
industry,
does.
getting to meet like some of these fighters, just some of these great athletes. It's literally like walking into a lion when there's a room. Like, you have to be aware of the danger and the type of people that you're dealing with.
Well, it's like talking about these athletes that are the YouTube stars. I mean, I don't know, man.
Okay, here's.
I mean,
Are we getting here?
which one?
Are we getting here?
Let me just say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I know. I don't want to get into it too much.
Get into it,
But I'm
Joey.
saying. Let me just say this. I get where you're coming from. A lot of kids nowadays, he mentioned a couple weeks ago, that are not into fights, that are following these YouTube TikTokers, are now
let's get into
getting
it.
huge. But I get
Let's
it. I
talk
respect
about
it.
Let's talk about what happened this past weekend. Actually,
What, when Lamar Odom beat the shit out of that little kid, or just something else?
Hey, Aaron Carter. That's how he beat Shaq.
We'll give up to real fighting one quick second before
Okay.
we get into this social media fighting.
Okay.
Now it's taking off. Let's break down the UFC main event of this past weekend. How about Stylebender returning back to the 185 division?
Yeah.
Well, we gave Brandon Moreno his credit.
How well he did it.
He fucked
Oh,
Federado up.
He destroyed
Like-
Davison Figueiredo. he was able to use his distance and his range and just the fact of his angles to completely offset Davison Figueiredo's style. And on top of it too, we've known Brandon Moreno's grappling and wrestling is A1. He comes out of Extreme Couture. They have some of the best, just I think, wrestling and cage wrestling out of any major gym right now.
You also can't give. You can give them a lot of credit, Extreme Couture, but you got to remember, Brandon went there to change stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't been there that long. I mean, a lot of it comes from Entrum.
Yeah, in TJ, yeah.
Tijuana. He's got people like from here that come there to train with him as well.
Right.
Like UFC fighter Johnny Munoz, also, top Brazilian black belt jiu-jitsu in his divisions.
Yeah.
So he has been on combat jiu-jitsu. He's made it pretty far in that as well that we went.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Moreno or
Brandon
Moreno, yeah.
He's not only has
as
he
Robert
been-
just informed me, our viewers, Brandon Moreno actually has competed within many grappling events like combat jiu-jitsu. And as Robert informed me, he's gone very far within these competitions and has shown that he has high-level grappling skill to compete with some of the best grapplers within the world, in my opinion. And especially at strawweight, one of the things that I always loved watching Brandon Moreno's fights and one of his strong suits, that he really doesn't get enough credit for his grappling, as Robert puts it. And as I fully agree with, his wrestling, incredible. His submission skills, great. You could see within, this past weekend, that back take was something else. That was a great technique and just very calm, able to slow the fight down, not getting too excited.
1,000%.
Able to get the finish and just lock it up and get the win.
The only thing about it, right? So, I mean, what were your guys' takes on Davidson Figueiredo, the God of War?
I thought he was a really great strawweight champion.
Fly?
For flyweight champion. But my one problem, I think he was a little bit too big for the division. I really think the weight cuts really started to weigh on him. And I really think, too, with him kind of having that style that was very unorthodox and very tricky, as he got to be more well-known and as he got to be a champion, I think his style kind of started to get figured out. The strawweights, they don't have many competitors, There's not many strawweight athletes, especially with diverse skill sets out there.
Ooh.
And the fact that he can have
Ooh, that's where I'll come in. So first off, there's a love-hate relationship that I had as a viewer for one Davidson Figueiredo. I hate the fact that he beat the fucking bricks off of one Joseph Benavidez. I wanted Joseph Benavidez to, at least retire with one, a la Mike Bisping.
That was like,
Right.
if you're a Joey B fan, I was so.
Who isn't a Joseph Benavidez fan?
He is such
Right?
an amazing person.
Yeah, and he just beat the shit, and especially that last one where he literally chokes him out. Megan O'Leary is outside his wife, who's one of my idols in terms of interviewing and what have you. I was conflicted, right? Because to me, I think he took entirely too much shit, right? He was very argumentative, and that's here or there.
Interesting in the embedded, he was saying, if I see Brandon, I don't like the fact that he thought that he could beat me, or that he was facing the full me. So if I even see him before the fight, I'm gonna fight him.
Okay, that worked out well for him, right? That ideology.
Yeah.
No,
And
and
the
but
moment where they ran into each other too. and
yeah.
They didn't.
Well, that's not even if you're talking embedded, man. Marvin, I think it was episode 2 where Vittori and Stylenbender kind of are, where they're waiting to get their fight kits and whatever. Like, oh, did you get that one, or did you get your belt, or whatever the fuck? And then, literally 2 embeddeds later, they're like, "Ah, fuck you, sir." Like,
Sir.
wait, where was this? Where was this? I mean, doing it for the gram. I think that was.
So the fight.
Yeah,
Got it.
but see, with Figueiredo, the style that he trains, right? Because a lot of people just think, jiu-jitsu is synonymous for Brazil, right? But the one thing that I've been kind of hopefully the purveyor of, even though I'm a shit no stripe white belt, right? But everybody acknowledges, hey, Maeda taught the Gracies and what have you, right? But what was Maeda? Maeda was a judoka catch wrestler, from Japan, right? So the fact that Davidson Figueiredo literally trained in a grappling art that only the Amazonians fucking, like people that live along the Amazon River, they train, right? So it's completely unheard of. So, like, I love that he was like the purveyor of that particular style that nobody had seen beyond, again, the Amazonian fucking whatever.
Davison Figueiredo?
Figueiredo, yeah. He does this like
very
half
fascinating.
capoeira, half whatever the fuck.
That
But
kind of explains like the little kind of shoulder roll distance
Yeah.
he kind of does.
Yeah.
Where he kind of uses that to bait you in. But I think that was the problem with facing somebody with Brandon Moreno style,
Yeah.
especially kind of that more kind of traditional, kind of tight guard boxer style, and really kind of uses his range and his jab, and the fact that he has kind of that distance over.
right, and remember
Was
they
kind of
fought
the perfect
before.
style.
It was a dog fight, and it was a
Oh, that was one of the best, I think, just championship fights in general. I think that was
Ever.
fight of the year.
It should have been. Yeah, that's the one that, when Dana wanted Figueiredo to stay behind and not go back to Brazil, and this is when we were deep in the thick of COVID,
yeah.
regulation that we didn't know that he could come back, right? Dana was like, no, that might have been the Alex Perez because he basically submitted Alex
was
Perez.
Alex
Yeah,
Perez,
yeah.
because he kept because it was a quick submission for Alex Perez. We were all rooting for him. Friend of the show.
Yeah,
If
100%,
you're
man.
from
Shout out
this
to Alex.
area, you got to root for Alex Perez.
Right.
If you're from Irvine, SoCal, OC,
Shit,
Santa-
from
anywhere.
fucking Lemoore,
Lemoore,
down.
sure, down,
He
like-
owns Alex Perez owns California. Sorry,
Yeah,
that just happens.
You got to root for Alex Perez.
Right.
We were all rooting for Alex Perez, and we're still rooting for you, Alex Perez. And,
Hell yeah.
I'm still rooting for you. But in that fight, like Davison handled him
pretty soundly, right?
Pretty soundly. It was, sometimes fighting comes down to styles, and when you're a wrestler and you're fighting a guy who's got a good guillotine when you shoot in,
Yeah.
sometimes fighting it's just about the X's and O's, unfortunately.
Right.
And
Ooh,
but-
that was Ellie King, man. The X's and O's song. No, I'm sorry.
But with that fight, I believe Brandon Moreno was also fighting on the same card. And so
Right.
Dana
On the other-
decided, let's keep
against
Davison
Royval.
around and keep him, finally give this kid his title shot because
Mm-hmm.
we got some momentum here. And boy, was that an amazing decision. And we got one of the best flyweight title fights we've seen in history, if not, in my opinion, the best.
No, 100%. Which, I mean, you mentioned, Royval. I mean, it was Royval versus Moreno on the undercard to Alex Perez and Davidson Figueiredo.
The important Royval shoulder.
That
injury.
is going to be an amazing fight. Should that happen, Royval and Moreno one more time
Oh, my
for the
goodness.
title.
That would be because they have some unfinished business.
Yes, they do. And
Think about it. You're the guy that hurt my shoulder that I had to go get literal screws in. I was doing well in that fight. We were going back
Yeah.
and forth. And just due to a freak accident, you win and get your title shot.
Yeah.
And then move on around the champion. But imagine if Brandon Royval comes back, goes on a title, an amazing 5 or 6 fight win streak.
I don't think he
goes
would
and
even
has
take
an
that. Yeah,
incredible
maybe
title
3.
fight with Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
That would be an incredible story.
Yeah.
Tell me you're not going to watch that right now.
And it's funny because the precarious position that the flyweights have been, kind of circa Mighty Mouse Johnson, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, right? And Dana literally sent a mercenary in TJ Dillashaw to kill the division, right? The bantamweight champ going down and what have you.
Mr. Killishaw.
Yeah, and it didn't work out, and now it's one of the most exciting.
And it showed why weight cutting is not always the answer.
No,
It is
100%.
not.
And much to John De La Ho's kind of not diatribe, but his jargon. One championship is doing it the best. Where they were doing hydration tests, which is one thing that California CSAC wanted to implicate right around COVID hitting.
They're very good about that, I will say. I've had one of the few training partners and seen more few guys who've gotten some letters talking about their weight cuts and their water percentages. And so CSAC is very good about
It's one of the
hydration
best.
levels and one of the things, and just making sure fighters do weight cuts the most safest things they can.
No, 100%, 100%. What do you think in terms of, especially weight cutting? You should be like the major domo of weight cutting, good sir.
Well, my weight cutting was done by surgery, so I mean it's a little different. I mean, but
Don't
but-
let the truth get in the way of a good story. I
But
just
yeah,
told him
I'm
like
just-
30 minutes ago.
No, but honestly, I mean, it's just maintain your eating habits. That's what I learned. That I had a, thanks to my wife and her helping me out and eating right and not eating the bad stuff. She she gets my lunch ready, and I know what I need to not to eat. Because back in the day, like I said, I ate a lot of crazy shit that to me I thought it was normal, and not realizing that the weight gain was going crazy.
I can tell you this much. Me and Joey would have conversations about what he would eat when he was a younger man training, like on our car ride home. And I would sit there, and what he didn't know is I would sit there, and we would just be like, I'm like, Joey, you were doing all this work, and we're basically like shooting it all away with your diet. And he's just like, well, I just didn't know. And I'm like, Joey, you can't go and have like a 3-hour boxing session and think Carl's Jr. after it was a good idea.
Well, no, like I said, back when I was
I
22,
know, you
I had
didn't know,
3 burgers, and I was like
but
nothing. I was like,
you would tell me your eating habits of that time, and I like
Probably
as
not
a
in my
young man
20s anymore.
who's into fitness, who's into nutrition, who's into just taking care of his body for longevity's sake and just health. You would tell me these stories, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Oh, you can eat sushi. Oh man, I
you're
love
you're shooting away
buffets.
all your work.
Oh, but it was awesome. But,
There's a reason they
but I always
say
had fast hands,
80-20.
man. Boom.
Those fast hands can go away if
Can we
you
get
know
a
with enough
demonstration?
tortillas.
You've built it up, good sir, so much. Can we get a demonstration like you against the brick wall that's behind it?
I don't want that wall is too precious. I don't want to destroy
It's
it.
too
It's
precious.
gonna be like
Oh
a
shit!
Cinderella Man moment. Where
Yeah,
he's
dude.
in
I
the
want to
scene
see
with
Joe.
his- he's just like,
That's gonna be an
"Ah."
NFT. Rob, can we do that? Joey the Bull, fucking shadow boxing.
No, but I do have I do
no.
have a TikTok where I'm wearing a Muhammad Ali shirt and my greatest pudgiest body, doing some shadow boxing. I'm gonna remake that TikTok and have it as a duet to show how I look now and comparing what I used to do. So
Wait,
that's coming soon.
He's gonna sing with himself.
It's not
The skinny
singing.
self and the portly self.
Oh,
That could be cool.
I mean, it's all good.
Moving on from that image, back to the UFC.
Why
this
not?
past weekend.
I mean, we got UFC.
goodness.
What else is going on out there besides?
Well, let's get into the Stylebender fight. What do you guys think?
Well,
about that?
wait. I mean, this is Thursday. PFL is pretty much done that. Clarissa Shields, right? Yeah,
Oh, her
shout out to
MMA debut.
Curtis Millender, right? Who's fighting tonight. Looks like your filthy Tom Lawler might have retired. But, I mean, Clarissa Shields and Brittany Elkin. That was fucking...
great.
I didn't think that Brittany... I mean, we know that Brittany Elkin was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, right? A legit Enzo brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
But getting hit by a world champion boxer is something
But
different.
it was more.
It
Clarissa
is something different.
scrambles. Brittany
She
had her in some
scrambled, she
precarious
scrambled,
positions on the ground, and Clarissa kind of like shrimped her way. Like that was like blue belt level skill set, and I was just like, what am I even watching? Right?
I was impressed, from what.
About the whole thing. Was there anything in the agreement of any rule changes that we don't know about?
No.
Elbows. Brittany did not throw one elbow in 7 minutes mounted. That is weird.
So
I don't. Robert, viewers, as Robert just asked us, he was curious to see if within the contract negotiations for Clarissa Shields' MMA debut and with her MMA fight, if there was any particular rules that were changed. Because one of the things that he brought to our attention that is quite odd, especially for Brittany Elkin's skill set, considering on her past fight history, is the fact that she had top mount for 7 minutes and did not throw one single elbow, which we've seen a lot, and I can tell you as somebody who analyzes fights, who has to spend 2 hours of every day just to watch film and watches a lot of MMA fights, seeing someone in an MMA fight with 7 minutes of top control and they don't throw any kind of significant ground and pound or any significant ground attack, especially or any really kind of aggressive punches like an elbow or anything, it is quite odd and is very out of the strategy.
Here's my one per show, but here's a cheap plug. On the According to Woods podcast, about 3 weeks before the fight, Brittany Elkin kind of was in a park with her dog talking. From the contractual obligations, like there was nothing abnormal from any of her other fights. That's not to say that maybe somebody might have passed her an envelope You know,
We-
a la, Antonio Inoki, Muhammad Ali in 70 what odd.
Somebody may have pulled a Kimbo Slice and
Yeah.
that one Strike Force fight he had with that one Seth. I can't remember his last
Is
name.
it
but that one-
Petruzzelli? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one
Petruzzelli.
Seth
Yeah.
Petruzzelli fight.
Yeah.
There could have been some,
I-
hey,
again-
don't take it to the ground.
And the other thing about it, this is a featured fight. It wasn't in the PFL season tournament kind of deal. So,
it was not.
you
It
and
was
then
just a debut.
yeah. So don't know, but then here's the thing: the New York, no, it was New Jersey, right? New Jersey State Athletic Commission. It wasn't like it happened at
Never
a
mind.
native casino like Bellator.
Yeah, that's a different story. If we're messing around with, especially New Jersey, specifically the New Jersey and kind of New York athletic commissions are very
were-
strict, especially in terms of safety,
I-
especially with cuts. I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's nothing compared to like Philly or what is it, Pennsylvania, where the dude lost his finger.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And,
Brittany Elkin was there for because she worked at the 2300 arena, former ECW arena, which is
Well, I
wild.
think they asked that fighter about it, and he said he didn't even notice till he got back to
no,
the
no,
corner.
yeah, no, that is absolutely. If you, because I slowed it down like quite a few times, right? And what happened is the dude, his opponent, was literally grabbing the inside of his glove, grabbing like almost like purpling it.
Yeah.
And at some point, it became dislocated
And popped off.
and then popped out.
Oh.
And right, so it's serrated somehow.
Well, with the finger and the knuckle, there's not much cartilage there. It's like they say,
It's
like,
the skin.
You know,
And
you
once you
could
break the-
actually bite through your finger like
Yeah.
a carrot. It's just there's a mental thing in there that blocks you from doing.
Not that we'd
Not that we
recommend.
recommend that.
No,
Do not do that,
not at all.
viewers. We are not responsible if you bite your fingers off.
I'm trying.
Oh, I think that was a bit in like a Jamie Foxx movie, but yeah, I know, and it's I think it's kind of wild because it's the former ECW arena, and CM Punk was actually the commentator with John Morgan, and that's probably not the first finger that was lost in that arena. So,
Oh, no.
It probably
Love
is
it.
not.
No.
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 Not in the
Yeah.
streets of Philly.
New Jack, come on.
Oh, New Jack.
Yeah, New Jack. R.I.P. New Jack. But
Yeah.
yeah, no. The Stylebender, man. So here's the deal. Obviously, him and Brad Riddell, his teammate, they suffered a horrible loss of their teammate, right?
Trevin Williams, I want to say, or
He's an amateur.
Taryn. I can't quite remember the young gentleman's name, but he was a young man that unfortunately had lost his life not that very long ago. That was a close teammate to Israel, the Last Stylebender, and Brad, the Quake Rydell.
Right,
Which
absolutely.
are two great fighters coming out of City Kickboxing, but unfortunately they did have a loss within their team.
And I mean, literally after the funeral, like there was a week in between before they had to
Oh, I
fly
didn't
out to
know it was that
Arizona.
close. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So because obviously COVID protocols and what have you. So I thought, right, because a lot of people were kind of, questioning Izzy after the Jan Blachowicz loss and what have you. His kind of where he was, right? And I think as somebody that has lost my parents, it's almost like, an extra urge to want to do something to make the legacy of your fallen friend, comrade.
Any tough challenge you go through can be a motivator to do great things. It's like
absolutely.
one of my favorite things that, and I heard Duncan Trussell kind of say this on a Joe Rogan podcast one time that I really enjoy, and I really believe in, is that anything that bad happens to you, it's an opportunity to do good to inspire somebody else.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. So there was that. So I thought just the ideology and their mindset is they wanted to make their fallen comrade proud, right? But also, Eugene Behrman was actually on MMA On Point, and in terms of that Blachowicz loss, they were talking about. There were two ways that they could have went: either a leveling up of skill, right, or a bulking up of weight to be almost, similar size of Jan Blachowicz, and they went the skill set, right,
Yeah.
and that ultimately ended up being their undoing, right, because Izzy was just, not severely undersized, but noticeably undersized, right? So, I don't think there's anybody in that division that can beat Izzy. Now, was that the most exciting fight? No, not by any means. Good God. And yes, the Jan Blachowicz lost.
I think it was a fight of this past weekend between Marvin Vettori and Israel, the last stylebender out of Sonya. I think it's not the most exciting fight, but a fight that if you're somebody who trains or somebody who just enjoys this, you can learn a lot from in terms of technique and how a fight should go and how you should fight a 5-round fight, especially against a fighter like Marvin Vettori.
No, I agree with you with an asterisk, right? I, thanks to good friend of the show Albert Morales, was at UFC 209 with the main event as Tyrone Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Fuck that shit. I wanted both of them to retire that night. That was so shit, that fucking fight. Good God, it was horrible. Like,
no,
I've been
it's
to
not great
wrestling.
television.
I've been to countless wrestling fucking promotions, concerts and everything. I have never heard a chorus of boos as loud as fucking T-Mobile that night. It was garbage. People actually threw shit in the ring, in the cage. It was fucking wild.
I'll do you one better. For this show and for my breakdowns, I have to watch hours of film, and with hours of film, it's not always exciting fights for a lot of these fighters.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're having to watch fights like this one of this past weekend where it's not exciting, but they're very technical, and there's a lot you can learn from over and over and over again, which is why not many people, and especially Dondo and other people, they left me the fight analyst job, because you have to watch these boring fights over and over again. It's not the most funnest in time
Well,
to
Lamar
watch
Odom.
it over and over
Lamar
again.
Odom.
We'll get into the social
Ooh,
media
Jesus.
stars after this. Joey's excited to get into it.
No, I'm not.
We'll
I'm
have our
not.
cap off, with the last stylebender, but is it the most exciting fights? No. Is it is it technical? Yes. Does it get you wins? Yes. That is the real important part. Was the thing that I really liked about Stylebender, the thing that just amazes me with every time, he's very similar to Conor McGregor, where he's willing to say something and go out and do it. He's willing to put out these incredible feats or all that and say, I'm going to do this incredible thing. And literally, like he says, I live my life like a movie and I'm the main character, saying I really have taken a lot from and try to emulate. It really shows, like, the fact that
He bullies you?
He does all the time.
Oh, damn it.
and
Be a star, damn it.
I know. And the thing that I really enjoyed is, like, he said in that Fight Week promo, I'm gonna 5-0 him. He 5-0'd him. 40, I believe, 50 to 45. 10-9 every round.
Okay. Yeah, no.
It's arguable he didn't. In my opinion, he really forewarned him, but not. I wouldn't call that a 5-0. Marvin kind of got at least one of the rounds with a little bit of the takedowns and I believe. Was it the third round that he almost synced in that rear naked choke?
Yes.
That was the round you could argue Marvin Vettori won.
No, 100%.
I was a little, when I saw 5-0, I was just like, I'm a big Stylebender fan, but even I'm not calling that a 5-0
And
personally.
you mentioned, I mean, you
at
mentioned
least from my scoring book.
You mentioned
But-
Connor, right? Like, and yes, Mystic Mac, that was really a fucking thing, right? But like, for every Conor McGregor, love him or hate him, you get like Dan Ige, who's fighting this weekend, right? 50K. Motherfucker, like, you're halfway through your fucking UFC career before you got your first 50K and your last outing. Like, what the fuck are we doing, sir? But at least you're not the Taz Mexican Devil, because again, your name is fucking Ray Borg. The layup is Cyborg. I have a thing about like pretty shit like fight names or whatever. Yeah, it's like, be what you are. Don't. I don't know. Fucking weird.
Hey, at least your teammates didn't give you young blood.
Did you? Well, wait, are you the young blood?
I was the youngest. Yeah,
Okay.
Still am the youngest.
Do they have like platforms with goldfish in them? Are they calling you a jive turkey and shit like that? God. I mean, you should get your disses from like at least the 80s, folks.
I'll even
Dondo, I'm
put up
talking to
my-
you too, damn it. I know you're watching.
My
I hope you're
nickname
watching.
is cringy.
I mean, he reminds me of a young Howard Stern. Just need to give him the curly wig, you know?
Uh-oh.
Jeez.
Are you getting the putang?
We're
You said
keeping this
young Howard
G-rated.
Stern. You can't. I mean, you've never
Just keep
seen.
the viewers don't need to know about my personal and dating life.
Okay.
It's very very small. He is a
What, his
dating
his
life.
Howard
his
Stern?
his dating life.
Oh, I was gonna say his hairline. That's a
Yeah,
luscious
that was-
fucking set of hair, good sir.
I'd
know.
say I got
Good
that,
God.
I know. I just cut mine
Persian
for a while
curls.
back.
But
Did
no,
ya?
getting back to these fighters and the amazing, just things that they can do and the amazing card of this past weekend, and to cap it off, it was atypical style bender. You know,
Yeah.
incredible technical striking and just still improving.
Yeah,
Especially
100%.
grappling wise. Fix the wrestling.
Yeah.
Fix the defense. I watched him today on the Flagrant 2 podcast. He was talking about the
Oh,
back
wow.
take specifically.
Wow.
And one of the things that I really enjoyed, he was saying, he's like, I wasn't in danger the whole time. And he was like, going into like how he wasn't in danger. He was talking about with the pressure, it looked from the angle, obviously, with just the fact that Marvin Vettori's arms are literally the size of Adam's head and me and Adam's heads.
Together.
And,
That's facts.
and could just, you know, he could probably literally just squeeze a watermelon in half. But, you know,
That's a
just
visual.
from the angle that Izzy had and just the improvements that he made through going to Atos and all these different jiu-jitsu gyms.
A
and
legit
being
blue
able to-
belt in Atos, yeah.
And being able to, well, purple belt now.
Isn't it?
I
Yeah,
believe,
right
He
on.
got his purple belt. when he was
I'm
down there.
colorblind, folks. I don't know. Blue, yellow, black, green, gold. Right on. Power Ranger. Wah! Whatever.
Voltron. And but one of the things that I really liked is the fact that he did improve his wrestling and improved his awareness of where his hips should be within his wrestling, because that was the main problem within the Jan Blachowicz fight, was the fact that when you don't have the size, the way you, in my opinion, that you overcome that, especially as a taller, skinny guy, you have to know where your feet are at and where your hips are at all times, because your lower half is where they're going to go from, because the bigger you are, the harder you fall, especially being taller.
You've
If
been
you're
getting your
tall-
fight tips from Joey the Bull, haven't you?
Maybe.
There we go. 10 points.
Well,
But, you know, you could see within that last fight, every time he was getting blast doubled, there was nothing he could do. With this fight, completely made the adjustment and able to get back to his feet every time to where he was able to be the strongest, which is really where I think Israel's strength is. He takes the fight where he wants it and shows off his strengths. And we just saw another high real performance.
Yeah, no. I just realized that blast double in MMA terms and wrestling terms is completely different than. I'm just saying.
now,
Happy
now
Pride.
we're going to talk about Joey the Bull sitting on the can, banter.
Wait,
All right.
you're sitting on
Are
a
we
can?
getting in?
Are you getting blast
We're getting
doubles?
into
Well,
the-
I'm bringing up quick subjects and we'll all talk about it. I'm
Okay.
real quick. Number one, Julio Cesar Chavez. Almost getting into it with Camacho Jr. Lamar Odom beating up a little kid. Woodley, right? Versus
Jake Paul.
And let's bring up one more.
Are
Let's
we
see.
going for the social gloves? Are we talking about the TikTokers versus the YouTubers?
TikTokers. Let's talk
Joey?
about the old guy versus
I've
the
been
young
seeing-
guy,
you've
the
been
tall
wanting
guy
to get
versus the
into
little
it.
guy. Let's just
You've
talk
been
about
wanting
this
to
right
talk
now.
about these non-fighters fighting.
Ugh.
What is your thoughts and opinions, Joey? You've been itching to tear into all of these young guns who
To
think
me,
they're
as
all
a
tough.
big fan of just
you know?
celebrity fights, I love it. Okay, but when celebrities talking about, oh, well, like I'm the next big thing, I'm the next this because I'm my training, I take my vitamin,
I
say my
got you.
prayers.
How about
And
this, Joey? One thing I was been waiting to hear your opinion. You know, what is your thoughts on the YouTubers versus TikTokers with Austin McBroom versus Bryce Hall, where we've seen some of the biggest YouTubers and some of the biggest TikTokers go to the ring to follow in the Paul brothers' footsteps of showing that social media stars can put on an amazing boxing promotional event. And what is your thoughts on them comparing themselves to great boxers like Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders,
it's really
Terrence
sad.
Bud Crawford, and even the great Ryan Garcia?
I mean, even watching Okosinko get his ass knocked out, it's very sad. And that was one of my arguments when I had one of our Dondo when he was here. He's like, well, you know, some of these guys are trained athletes, like a football player, basketball players, but dude. They're not boxers. They're not fighters. You can train your own sport, but when you get in that ring or cage, it's a different level, different story. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. You're all making this sport a big joke. Yeah, I get it. It brings in the crowd. It brings in the money. It brings in viewers. I get it. I'm the person watching this shit. I love it. But it just makes me sick when these guys talk after the fight. Oh, yeah, you're next Camacho, or you're next Canelo, or you're next Felix Trinidad, you're next Muhammad Ali. I mean, I hate it. Okay, I'm good.
All right. Adam Woods.
Hey, dude, controversy creates cash, right? If we're
know.
talking about it, that's
Views.
here's the deal. Like I kind of went through this with one of the Paul brothers versus KSI, right? And I mean, we know a litany of fighters that are literally, working 3 jobs to play for training in their home life
Exactly.
and what have you, right? But here's my fundamental difference, right? A lot of people like MMA fans don't necessarily like pro wrestling. Pro wrestling fans don't necessarily like MMA, right? But if you look at pro wrestlers, they love MMA.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
look at MMA fighters, they love pro wrestling, right? So obviously Connor, right? Connor's the biggest example, right? He's doing a bits of Ric Flair and Vince McMahon, kind of as a weird hybrid, right? Now, is everybody supposed to talk shit, even if you're not a shit talker? Well, we saw it with Kevin Lee and Mike Chiesa. They're not good shit talkers, man. It fails like John Denver in a fucking helicopter crash.
Oh, no.
Good God, you know.
Oh, no.
So
Oh,
with
that's
that.
Oh, my mom.
Yeah, sorry, but with that all being said, Country Mountain Road or wherever the fuck he was. Thank God I'm a country boy. That's
No,
John
it wasn't.
Denver.
It
What?
was even on a jet plane. He
No.
left on a jet plane. Boom. Never.
No,
never
it
come
was
back
a
again.
experimental helicopter, and he was. Thank God I'm a country boy because he played in Son-in-Law when Pauly
Okay,
Shore gets the
okay.
fucking tractor.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I digress. Right. So the thing about it is, everything you can wrestling, right? That was literally pancreation borrowed over from like ancient Greece and shit like that, because they can't garner views. The NBC is going to, and the International Olympic Committee is going to 86 fucking wrestling. Literally one of the only fucking sports that is
Worth watching.
derived from the original Olympics, right? So here's the thing that a
And
lot of
actually,
people
the sport of wrestling is exciting to watch, even if you don't know the techniques.
right?
Like-
But here's the thing: is it going to garner views, right? When when you're talking about the exploration and the expansion of any given sport, right? You have to have sizzle to the steak, right?
Yeah.
You can be a fucking great fighter. How many great fighters that we know that aren't cashing $1 million checks, right?
Yeah.
And
I'll do you one
when
better.
it's
How many great fighters we know that are just in the gym and not even just
right, and
making
not on
ends
the
meet?
social media, nothing, what have you. But you can't not create a buzz and then also go, why am I not being paid more, right?
Yeah.
Because the money has to come from somewhere, right?
It's like the Paulo Costa argument of when he was saying, I'm not going to fight anymore till I'm paid as much as like these Paul brothers. And then Dana White said, if you want to be a YouTuber, you could have started a YouTube channel
You
and
should
uploaded
have.
when you were
Chris
13.
Cyborg's doing it, and
There's a reason I give Sean O'Malley so much credit, and I don't think as a marketer, like he doesn't get enough. That guy is the way he's approached, I think, the fight game and his fight career is genius in my opinion. Because that dude has made more money at
Right.
the stage that he's at and the levels that he had
Right.
each time, being a businessman and being just himself and using the internet to his advantage and using social media to his advantage
Yeah.
than any other fighter that I've seen. And as much as we want to crap on the guy, resources make you better. Resources improve things.
Right.
Resources can give you a lot. You know, how many fighters we know that we've seen as they progress in their careers, they make more money, that just their fighting gets better just by the fact that they can go get an extra recovery day in. You know?
yeah, absolutely.
This could be literally the difference between you having a major injury and being able to call a whole fight off and you having the performance of your life could be just the amount of recovery days you have, the amount of nutrition, the quality that you get of these items.
It's a game of inches, right? Whether it be skill sets, whether that be nutritional plan, cardio, what have you, or also the stress going into it. If you have a 6-week fucking fight camp, and you also have to hold down 3 jobs and then maintain a semblance of a home life to either your parents, your spouse, your kids, if you have them, what have you, the eye is going to be deflected just a tad, right? As much as people don't want to admit it. But imagine if you posted one thing on Twitter or Instagram or all fucking every social media. That's one of the things that drives me wild about fucking MMA fighters, right? Love you guys. But when you're like, I'm just on Instagram, I'm just on whatever, basically what you're doing is telling people, well, they're not good enough to follow you, right? as you're trying to make your name known as a household name, as a guaranteed commodity that you can go to a promoter and go, I'm worth this much, right? Oh, shit. That's my tangent. That's my tangent. There we go. Here we go. I'm gonna just do this.
Go for it.
So
Freestyle it.
so basically, you're basically siphoning, right?
Siphoning.
Yeah, siphoning the amount of paid people and supporters that you have that can chime on Twitter to Dana White and Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard that you deserve this right, or Ed Suarez of LFA, right? But you can't do that if you're just on Instagram or you're just on Facebook, right? Here's the thing, like, we used to pay for business cards to tell you who you are. And it would cost you anywhere from a couple $100 to, what have you, right? This is before Vistaprint and all that shit, right? Now it's for free. All you
it's
need
all
is
free.
Yeah, all free. And it takes you maybe a couple extra seconds to post the same fucking photo on your Facebook that you also put on your Instagram and put on your fucking Twitter, right? And hashtag crazy, right? And then leave it fucking alone.
It's like everybody has to be a marketer nowadays. Like
Absolutely.
I personally, like, as a person who's in college still getting their AA, I find myself marketing jobs all the time.
Right.
I try to find myself opportunities through these things. You have to make it happen. Like, and one of the things that I think that you're bringing up is a great point, is the fact that the problem with these fighters is that, and just businesses in general, and the thing that I try to say and explain to people why, like one of the things I explain for, like, this, for example, most people don't understand what it is to, like, come down and do a podcast that doesn't make you any money and put this amount of work into something like this. It's not necessarily the immediate cash you see, but it's the resource of attention. The
Right.
resource of attention nowadays with social media and what you can do with it is almost more valuable than money, I would argue. Because what is the world looking for nowadays through all these platforms, through all these avenues, through all these things? Attention, eyeballs, views, clicks, likes. Because
Right.
through the attention, you can take that attention and put it into all these other avenues to make you the money that you need.
Right.
Which is where the issue with a lot of fighters that they don't see, with a lot of athletes they don't see. You know,
Yeah.
I could say within my own family, I've had great family members that are great athletes that we thought were going to go do great things, get this scholarship, get that. And unfortunately, they didn't pan out just due to the simple fact that, no, it's not that they weren't talented, they weren't hard workers, they didn't have this factor. They literally just didn't have the exposure. And,
Yeah.
and we learned through that of, no, you need to put your name out there. You need to be out there. You need to be on social media. You need to have your name be well known.
Right.
Because that's where we go to. That's who we look to be
Hell,
for next tomorrow's stars.
Yeah, I mean, shit, even, as an amateur, right? And I've seen it happen a litany of times where, an amateur fighter, not even fighting really, puts out a T-shirt, cool looking T-shirt, right? On what is it? I forgot those two sites that you like. It's a apprenticeship,
T-shirt Plus,
yeah, something like that,
Depop,
right?
all those.
And put it on their fucking Instagram or whatever. They'll make $300 extra that will pay for their fucking medicals, right? From being a no-name fighter, but giving people like 7 people to do $25 a pop. There you go, right? And the things that you're complaining about, right? You could mitigate all of it, right? I like to think of it. You are the CEO of your own fucking company, right? But you determine whether that company is worth absolute dog shit or multi-million dollars. And Connor is the greatest example ever, right? Took that, it was already the highest paid mixed martial artist ever, right? More so than GSP, more so than Ronda, more so than Brock, right? He's the highest paid, right? Goes over to boxing, $100 million, right? Did he win? No. This is somebody that still commands, right? Being a good martial artist, right? He hasn't won a fight in damn near 4 years,
Yeah.
right?
Still making
And
it.
people will, we're hyped up for him and Poirier 3. When we know what's going to happen. Connor's not the same fucking guy. You give somebody $100 million and then also tell him to fight. What's Jeff Bezos doing? Is he in the fucking thing with Amazon? In the fucking warehouse? No. The fact that Conor McGregor is even fighting is like, it's an enigma worth it in itself, right?
Well, I think what it speaks to, and specifically too with the Paul brothers, is the fact that what's the most fascinating part, and the most fascinating part about this sport is the fact that it's reaching to these millionaires and to these guys that are very affluent. But once they enter these lifestyles per se, like Jake Paul, for example, I'm a kid that's grown up in SoCal. I'm have friends that also pursue social media and then have been in that scene and may have partied with Jake Paul here and there. And the thing you realize pretty quickly within that lifestyle and within a rich lifestyle, like we always hear, money doesn't bring happiness. You could have everything in the world. You could have, a Bentley and still be so depressed you want to put a gun in your mouth. And so you could see the incredible drug that is fighting.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is when you see with some of these fighters is the fact that, or even the Paul brothers, the fact that they've experienced every other high you can experience in this life, probably. And especially as entertainers, and especially with Logan Paul and the Paul brothers specifically, as human beings and as entertainers and the experiences they've had, they've experienced some of the highest highs and that a human being could have. But with the highest highs comes the lowest of lows and those feelings. And I think that you could even see with Jake Paul, with all these crazy stunts and calling out all these boxers and wanting to prove himself, he's very angsty within his own self. And very much, and even with, I think, even Conor, you could almost see that same angst to prove, where it's coming from different places. With Jake Paul, you could see the angst of, I want to prove that I'm a tough guy and that, I belong with, these guys, and that, that I want this drug. I want to be this drug, to be the fighter, the man in the ring, which is, like we've all wanted to experience and feel and have looked up to. Can be one of the craziest highs you can feel in general. And you could see with Conor McGregor, and I think the reason why he wants to keep pursuing with the Poirier fight and why he's, still demanding his attention, why he's still in the fight game, is he still is in love with the drug that is fighting.
Right. Now, here's the fact of the matter, right? Again, going back to being a great fighter and this and that. Well, how many great fighters have, PTSD and traumatic brain injury with nothing to show for it, right? That literally paved the way for all of us here, whether they compete, you compete, whether you're a coach, whether you cover the sport or what have you, right? And they're broken, penniless, can't even remember their kids' names, right? No. So here's the thing with the Paul brothers. The Paul brothers are training with legit people, right? They are literally bringing in legit people in their camps. They're taking this seriously, right?
Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor.
Right.
Another local guy out of Team Body Shop.
Right. But here's the also thing. Like, why are we just admitting the fact that, like, oh, you have to be like this, like, blood and guts warrior that has to have a 50-0 record before you get a shot with a PBR or Golden Boy or Top Rank or whatever. These motherfuckers are making money along the way. One of them, I can't tell.
Jake Paul got shined to Showtime.
Not just that, but
shined to Showtime. Signed to Showtime.
But also, don't they own Fight TV?
Triller.
No. Triller bought Fight TV.
I did not know this.
Yeah, less than 3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks ago.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That happened.
I don't know. I'm signed with them. So that
Okay. No. Triller. Triller.
We love Fight TV.
We love Fight TV. We highly support them.
Okay. That's. You're maybe we should make our words soft and sweet about the Paul brothers because we might have to eat them later. But I digress. Just like De La Hoya owns Ring and KO and all of the.
No, I do respect the Paul brothers. Like they're very. As much people want to hate on them, like I genuinely find them fascinating. I'm genuinely entertained.
Can I sneak in 2 seconds?
Go for it.
Is Woodley actually taking that opportunity to train with
Floyd
Mayweather's team? Did anybody hear about that? Because I know they offered.
He's still, I think, testing out gyms.
I don't think he's been great lately.
He's been looking good on the mitts. He just put some videos out of him in the gym, like actual boxing gyms. I think he's still shopping around where he wants to go for his camp. Oh, wow. I still like the Floyd Mayweather idea. I still like that, especially for his style and his attributes. I really think if he could just bait Jake in, get the kid angsty and want to run at you, and then make him eat that right hand of God. Like he's got Thor's hammer in that right hand.
Logan Paul and Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Oh,
Wait,
goodness,
what?
What is this?
Logan Paul and who?
Really?
Logan Paul and Mike Tyson.
Get out of Tyson. Oh my God.
Again, it's making money. So that's the fact of the matter, right? And so everybody has this kind of augmented, antiquated deal of what a boxer should be, rising through the ranks and fucking Golden Gloves champion and all that, whatever.
No.
These motherfuckers are making money
Wow.
along the way, and basically doing glorified exhibition fights, right? That are making millions upon millions. They are owning conglomerates, right? I mean, Fight TV that has rights to boxing, MMA, pro wrestling, everything under the sun that is combat sports, wushu
Our
movies
own
and shit.
competition of Jim Crashers Pro
Right.
is
Yes.
shown on Fight TV.
Right.
go.
Shout out to Fight,
And
man.
speaking of shout out, I want to give a shout out. Now, are we doing a UFC breakdown for this? Next?
We are
Okay.
indeed.
Well, let me give it a big shout out, and then we'll start doing the breakdown real quick. Okay. So I'm gonna give a shout out to all of our people that are watching out there. We got Vito, we got Mindy Hinojosa, we got Jack Brew Davison. I think that's probably your
Pius Lobo, Voodoo Maximus.
Buddha's Magnus, Raging, got Chris Free, my brother out there, my Steve Dodge. You got Booze and the Dudes.
Yeah, man.
Who else? You got CC Impact from Barstow, right?
Yeah,
CC
man.
Impact. Anyway, I also got my cousin, Sol Hinojosa. She's watching. Thanks for all the views, folks. Appreciate it. Now we're going to go down for the breakdown of the UFC event.
I thought
This
you were gonna break
is-
me down. That would suck.
And we're going in to the Bloody Breakdown, hosted by me, Adam Youngblood Araby. And we're going in to this amazing
He's got
UFC
notes.
fight night.
Oh
Going
shit.
Going in versus Korean Zombie versus Danny Gay. And if Robert, you want to bring up the UFC fights for me, and we could go right in to Diego Lima coming in at a minus 170 favorite versus Matt Brown, who's coming in at a plus 145 underdog. This is an exciting fight to open up the card with. Expect just full-on blood, guts, and action out of any Matt Brown the Immortal fight. This
Yeah.
is one I'm really excited for just by the fact that Diego Lima really has been kind of on an up and down stint within his UFC career. I believe made it to the Ultimate Fighter finale twice and lost twice, unfortunately. But your brother's also one of the greatest welterweights in the planet right now.
All time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, all time.
All
You
time.
could argue. Yeah, you could argue all time. And Lima even still, I think, competes with some of the best welterweights of the world today. But Diego, like I said, he's a little bit younger. I believe at 30 years old, still had that ups and downs in his career. As MMA goes, you can give 110 to the sport and get 10% out of it. But I really like this fight for him, because he's a really competent striker with at least decent enough defensive grappling to keep the fight standing. And one thing he really likes to do, especially within that 170 division, is really use his length and height. I believe he's around 6'1", 6'2" on some of the charts, and has like around a 71 inch reach, and just a really good use of distance and range. And Matt Brown, within his last fights, he had already retired once and has come out of a retirement and is 40 years old. And we've seen Matt Brown's been in wars. Matt Brown really hasn't had a boring fight in a long, long, long time.
Nope.
But with exciting fights comes with a lot of damage and a lot of wear and tear and a lot of mileage. And I just think that mileage and just that speed and that timing just isn't there for Matt Brown anymore. And I just really think this is a really perfect fight for Diego Lima to just kind of build up, earn some confidence, and get on a win streak finally. So I'm taking Diego Lima with this one. What are you guys thinking?
Matt Brown.
The Immortal. Always going with the old guys,
Old
Joey.
guys. I love the old
Always
guys,
going
man.
with the
Old school,
throwbacks.
school.
Old school.
No, I don't want to go against Matt Brown, but again, those injuries.
Styles, too.
Yeah, and those injuries. Now, Matt Brown could snatch up a quick submission of Diego Lima.
Lima has a suspect chin. I'll give him that. I'll give you that.
Right,
Matt
but-
Brown could throw out one good strike and knock out Diego. I'm not going to say that's not out of the realm of
Right.
possibility. It's just I go off of what is within your last 5 fights been.
Yeah,
And I just haven't seen the best of Matt Brown.
No, now, and that's the crazy thing. So why is Matt Brown still doing this, right? Because it's not like he'll be in title contention anytime soon. So is it a money issue that there's a lot of things that like don't sit right well with me? or
If I
well
really
with me?
had to say for why, if I had to look at just an outside standpoint, I don't think it's a money issue. I think it's just the fact that when you see fighters retire, they don't know how to give it up. They don't know what like that lifestyle.
That's
what
a
it is
wild
to be out
one,
of it.
man. To go,
And it's like I said, it's a drug at the end of the day. It's a
Alright.
hard drug to give up.
yo, Uncle Creepy's calling. He's not too far from here. Get on some fucking hero dose
Yeah, get
ayahuasca
on.
and shit
Yeah.
like that, man. Like if you, yeah, I'm just saying. Like
We have that program
I
for a
want
reason.
everyone to have concise thoughts and informed sentences when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick Lima as well, and you know, a mercy kill. Matt Brown gets KO'd, so there won't be any shadow of a doubt that he should hang it up.
All right, moving on to an exciting fight within the middleweight division. One that I think, if you don't know these guys, you're gonna know one of these guys by the end of the year. We have Wellington Turman versus Bruno Silva. Wellington coming in at a plus 110 underdog versus Bruno Silva, who's coming in at a minus 130 favorite. Bruno Silva is, I believe, the former M1 middleweight champion who's fought just a murderer's row within that M1, roster. And one of the things that I really enjoy about him and why I'm so excited for him to finally make his UFC debut, even though he's coming off a 2-year USADA suspension when he was
Right.
supposed to make, I believe, a 1 or 2 week notice fight to make his actual UFC debut, but unfortunately had that whole snafu with the suspension. And you could even kind of argue he might have been taking a little something, might have been on some horse meat, maybe. Maybe, allegedly. But hey, he's innocent now. We're going to finally see him fight. I'm all for it. And one of the things that I really like about Bruno Silva and why I really enjoy just the fact that he's making his debut now, he kind of fights like a modern day Vanderlei Silva. He's coming
That's
in
scary,
trying
yeah.
to take your head off. He is a knockout artist through and through. He does not want to take you to the ground. He tries to keep the fight standing to maul your head off. He really likes to kind of pressure forward. He can be technical and really set himself up. But when he sees an opening, he's coming in to take your head off and to kill you. And the thing that...
Before I forget, is because you mentioned, did you guys also see Oscar De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort?
Vitor Belfort.
Oh, yeah. As Robert wanted to mention before we forget and get fully off of, the Social Gloves boxing topic, there's also the fight between Vitor Belfort and Oscar De La Hoya, which is just... We're now just seeing former fighters fight in their
Again,
twilight
money.
years, get money.
It's all money.
Well,
there,
it's all
there
money.
isn't a championship to be held in this. This is,
This is
you know,
for no glory.
Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson was an exhibition, right?
That was
so,
watching
and people paid
two old men
$90
box.
for it, So,
Yep.
but again, there are people in. I mean, here's a little bit of kayfabe. Before this whole COVID thing happened, like I was doing Uber. When I told people I did MMA interviews, they were like, "What is that?" Like UFC. What is that? People in LA and OC don't even know what that is, right? So they're reaching like the filthy casuals that still want to pay money. So I'm all for it, Yeah. And there's probably going to be more people watching when the numbers come out, right?
There's
Let's look at
definitely-
this card, this UFC Vegas 29 card, and what fucking De La Hoya versus God, what's his name?
Vitor.
Vitor. This TRT Vitor. I guarantee you it's going to be TRT Vitor.
Oh, it's TRT Vitor.
Yeah, 100%.
If you've seen a recent photo of TRT or a recent
It's
photo of Vitor,
horse meat.
It's TRT
All
Vitor.
Canelo's horse meat.
It's versus Royds.
Oh,
or-
it's cocaine versus roids.
Cocaine versus roids,
Robert
man.
I love
Shit.
cocaine. I love
I mean, it
love
is.
cocaine.
But again, we're going to be doing the numbers, right? UFC Vegas 29 versus whatever the fuck card that TRT Vitor and coked out fucking De La
Well, I
Hoya,
can tell
and
you.
it will blow shit out of the water, that fucking card, that freak show card. And I hope everyone that's complaining about pay or whatever, I want to see you guys on the undercard, you guys and gals. Boxing, MMA, it doesn't matter. Look at Vitor. He's fucking headlining the card. Get on this fucking card and get fucking paid. You can do whatever else after. But it's going to be probably one of the heftiest paychecks of your career. So
I
there you
don't
go.
want to sound rude, but we got to speed up to the co-main event and the main event because I know we have another show going on in just a half an hour. And I know the owner of this place will be coming here, storming here anytime soon.
All right, sorry about this, guys. I can't give you too much, but we're gonna break down actually right before the co-main
Okay,
event.
that's fine.
Because we got to give it up to our good friend of the show, Marlon Cheeto Vera, facing Davy Grant in a rematch, a man that he faced early on in his UFC career when he was just a young man of 23 years old, facing Davy Grant, who's coming in at 35 and still improving his career. I'm so excited for this fight. Cheeto's coming in at a minus 210 favorite. Davy Grant at a plus 170 underdog. Like I said, they fought, before. Davy Grant has a really unorthodox style where he can get kind of wild and kind of go with just a lot of unorthodox angled punches. But what you can see within those flurries, he's able to get the fight to the ground to able to lock up those tricky submissions that he has. But I think when you fight, especially a guy who's that young into his career and who's that motivated, but had a great amount of talent, but just wasn't developed yet, it presents you with a new amazing challenge. And that's what you have in Chito Vera here. Chito's really found his stride and really his team within, Ruvka, within Team Oyama, with his wrestling coach, with his strength and conditioning. He's just got, just everything down in his life for fighting and where he needs to be and where he's going. He had a tough showing, I will admit, against Jose Aldo, but it's Jose Aldo, one of the greatest fighters of all time. And to go in there and have a competitive fight with him, hey, that says something. That's, he's only 28. And we've seen Chito get better and better and better each fight. I really love, every time that he's improved. And I just think, a brand new Chito Vera is just going to be too much for Davy Grant.
I'm going for Cheeto all day.
The home team all the way. Wise man once said, home team all day. So that might be Robert Simerson. Fuck. That's...
Rolling with the home team.
Now what's going on
and
with
then
the co-main
moving on
event?
with the co-main event, we have heavyweight grappler versus heavyweight grappler. A great fight, and Alexei Olenek coming in at a plus 185 underdog versus Sergey Spivak, who's coming in at a minus 230 favorite. This is a great fight if you want to make some money on. And this is one that is really exciting to see, a fighter with almost the same style, but more along in his career, more in the twilight of his career, facing the young gun who's really, I think, coming up and could be a future title contender in Sergey Spivak. One of the things that I really like about Sergey is the fact that when he takes you to the ground, he likes to really slow it down with his ground and pound, where he'll dive on the submission if it opens up, but he's going to make it miserable before to get it there. You could see within that Marcin Tybura fight and a few of his other fights, he likes to take you down and he'll ground and pound you until he sees that submission open up. I really don't see Alexei Olenek taking Sergey down. He's 40 years old. He's seen every fighter under the sun. And you could kind of see within his last few fights that his chin is kind of wearing out. He can't keep doing I'm going to take a few shots to my head to get you down and, to tie you up in the clinch and get some crazy submission that we've never seen before.
Olenek
But
looks like Nosferatu.
he really does.
Yeah,
He really
sorry.
does. And I don't think you're beating the guy in Sergey Spivak, who's beaten some other top heavyweight contenders. So I'm going with Sergey Spivak on this one. I'm going wrestling ground and pound.
I love grounding and pounding all day and all night. I'm going for Survey too.
Yeah, that's a unanimous pick, man. Sergey Spivak. This should be this is a big enough name for him at this stage of his career. This should be a showcase fight. He should knock out Olenek. If he doesn't,
I'm really surprised Marlon Vera didn't take the combing on this too. If I'm really,
I agree.
But,
I agree. Getting Marlon
moving
Fate.
on to a fight I'm really, really excited for. A fight that I really think honestly could earn fight of the night, even though it is the main event. Korean Zombie coming in at a plus 105 underdog versus Dan 50K Dynamite Ige, coming in at a minus 125 favorite. I really like this matchup for Dan Ige. I really like what he's done, and especially not particularly being a specialist and not really being outstanding on one particular skill, but really showing that he's physically gifted and a hard worker is something that I really enjoy out of watching Dan Ige, and especially in his fights. He's going in there, he's coming in like a scrapping Hawaiian, and one of the things that I really like for this fight that you could see with Korean Zombie, you don't get that nickname through having just long, slow, drawn out, boring technical fights. You get that through having a few wars. But we could see from Korean Zombie having a lot of wars over the years, especially with the Brian Ortega fight, and he even said it within his post-interview. The chin is kind of going. he even said, when I took that first shot in the first round against Brian, I was just never able to recover and get back in the fight.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is going to happen with, against a guy like Dan Ige, and you've seen this with multiple of Dan's fights and where he really gets people, is he'll catch you within a flurry, and just by the fact that he has some knockout power and some great physical strength, he'll end up hurting you, and then he'll be able to pressure you and seal the deal. And that's really how I think this fight is going to go. I just think, by the time Dan Ige connects, I don't think Korean Zombie's chin is just going to hold up. I think by the time he gets rocked, he's just not going to be able to get into a fight. And we're either going to see Dan Ige finish Korean Zombie early on or grind it out to, I believe, a 5-round decision.
Korean Zombie all day. Wah!
Yeah, man. Danny Ige didn't become 50K until like 2 fights ago. So, fucking Korean Zombie, dude.
All
All
right,
day.
I'm standing alone on the island, and we're going to close this show out, Joey.
Yo, this has been a pleasure. This has been a pleasure having Mr. Adam Woods, or Adams Woods, in the house.
Adam squared.
Dude, check him out on According to Woods every day. Just check out his IG. He'll let you know who he's interviewing, and maybe one day I'll be on his show one day because I'm a pretty
This guy
sexy
big.
bastard.
I told you right from the very beginning, and you're like, I'm too big for your show.
No, well,
Now he's skinnier, so hopefully someday.
I know.
And
I
then-
had to accomplish a few more things.
And this guy
I
too.
finally
Adam
found-
Youngblood.
I
Hey.
DM'd him too.
So-
and he big like me too.
So Adam Youngblood,
I
where can
said
they
I
find you in
needed
your
to
social
accomplish
media?
a few things.
Where can they
but
find you in
can
social
find
media?
me at adam.araby on Instagram and at the Fight Life Connoisseurs podcast and Instagram and just brand in general.
Mr. Woods, where can they find you?
According to Woods across the board, except for Twitter, where it's Adam K Woods, but you can still put it in According to Woods and it'll come up. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
And also subscribe to Free Admission Media on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can
And of
find
course,
us at.
You get this show and the Royal Ramble,
And of
which
course,
is coming
me,
up
Joey
soon,
the Bull.
folks.
You can find me everywhere from TikTok, Instagram, and don't forget Royal Ramble. Check it out. Next show, they have a show this coming up weekend at the place in Los Alamitos, 716 Los Alamitos, American Legion Post. It's gonna be crazy this Saturday. Check them out. Check out my page. You'll see them up there. I'm all